What's up, Solar Warriors? Today is Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. My name is Jarrett McAllister, the virtual Solar Pro. And if you're watching this on Facebook, give this a like. If you're watching this replay on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your fellow solarpreneurs. We are a few days, less than a week away from the Super Bowl. And as you can see, I am extremely excited for my San Francisco 49ers to take on Mr. Tom Cotter's Kansas Swiftie Chiefs. What's up, Tom? How you doing, brother?
Good morning. I'm here to represent all the people that don't really care about football.
Just before we started this recording, I asked you why you weren't wearing your hat, and you told me that you've never watched a football game in your life.
Yes, I have a whole training on this about how to build rapport with football fans when you're in home. If you tell them you've never watched a football game, you almost get the deal for sure. It's a great way to build rapport.
That's incredible. Drop that training in the chat for everyone. For the three people on this call that have never watched a football game, they can get tremendous value out of that. And then we are missing Bernasso today. I think he said he is on the road. He's in the car. I actually wanted to kind of get his feedback on the vibe, the energy, what's going out there, because this is all taking place in his hometown this week. So I hear it's a madhouse in Vegas, an absolute madhouse. But with that being said, let's move from the football talk and move straight to wins and success stories like we do every single week. I see a lot of you have your hands raised. If you have a win, feel free to drop it in the chat. But let's just start this thing right off with Powur Bill, Tier 3 mentor out of California. What's up, Bill Connolly? How you doing?
McAllister, boy, I get excited just hearing your voice. The amperage goes up at least 40 amps, enough for a 7600. I'm not going to steal Jared Foster's thunder at all. I see he's behind me. I just want to tell you I'm so proud of this man and I'm so inspired by him. But I really got on actually to talk about two people I don't think are on this call, but both of them hail from New York. They're young adults, very fired up about solar in general, totally anxious and excited to get solar in New York. But in the meantime, both of them have submitted a deal already. Within one day after he signed and took his certification, and his sponsor, I think Ariel has been on here once or twice. In any event, she got somebody at the real estate event last night. So wonderfully led by Miss Cynthia Alvidrez. So go New York, it's coming. I'm just really proud of them. It's really neat to see somebody from a non-power state get after it.
Love it. Hey, power of the platform, right? We are a virtual platform for those that want to take advantage of it. We could sell in almost 30 states. As you guys all know, I live in a state or in an area that we do not sell. Powur doesn't install in North Idaho, but yet I've helped hundreds of homeowners make the switch over to renewable energy. Awesome. And then great job, Cynthia. You absolutely rocked it on the Monday call for realtors and bringing people on. So like, shout out to you, Cynthia. Much love there. All right. We have a few more to get to. Jared Foster, you are up next. Share your win, brother. What you got? You're on mute. Cool.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, no, super exciting. Last week was a phenomenal week. We were able to lock it down with two deals. One of them that's going to be over 33,000 kilowatts per year. 3 Franklin batteries, rocking and rolling. As of last week, too, I'm proud to announce that I am now officially a Tier 3 mentor with Powur. And so I'm super excited about helping everybody and just crushing this company. So love it. Love everything that's going on. I'm super excited about that. Brought in a new ambassador who just submitted their first lead. I've got 2 presentations this week and one tomorrow. And tomorrow is the big training I get to do with California Marketplace on why enterprise and how to sell enterprise. So thank you so much for all the great training, the great people. You know, one of the things that I get a lot is I got a lot of new people jumping in on these calls and they're blown away because they come from other solar backgrounds. And they're like, everybody I see on here is professional. Everybody's, looks like they know what they're doing. They bleed the consultative side, and I'm just super excited to introduce people to the Powur platform.
Love it, Jared. I'm very excited about your growth on this platform. I mean, huge congrats to unlocking T3 here. Why don't you do us a favor? Put your information down in the chat. I'd like to do this for new T3s and what area you specialize in. So if anybody's looking for a mentor, feel free to reach out to Jared Foster. He can help you out. Consummate professional. Great job, brother. All right. Now to my brother from another. Bang, bang, Niner gang all day. Mr. Owen Carey, what's up, bro?
How you doing, brother? I'm very ready for Sunday. I'll tell you that much. But my words of wisdom today, and kind of why I joined Powur, was the warranty of coverage. So I had a scenario where the installer who did a job 3 years ago is no longer the platform. They're actually out of business. But and we had a leak, and I'm not here to scare anybody. We're still in construction, and I've done a lot of jobs, so it's not like a very common thing. We had a leak, and that installer was out of business. Because of the Powur platform, we had one of our other partners come out and seal the leak for that homeowner, no out-of-pocket cost. If they were to go with a direct installer that went out of business, they would be what we call a solar orphan. They have nobody to call, no one to go help them unless they're going to write a check. So that is why one of my favorite parts about Powur, and we got it fixed, and that homeowner loves me now. I mean, he always has loved me. He's a great guy. So I'll leave it at that. And I feel bad for anybody betting on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Or put that on the recording right now.
Love it, Owen. That's great, man. And you make up a great point, because we are a decentralized platform, because we have multiple installation partners, they are like triple covered. They have the the manufacturer's warranty, right? You also have the local installer that did your job, but then you have Powur being a nationwide powerhouse, pun intended, that will also cover them as well. So great job there. Your customers in great hands with us, and love the fact to get it, getting them covered. And you guys, leaks happen, man. We're literally putting holes in people's roofs. It's okay. It happens. Don't freak out. Remember, we've talked about this, right? If your customer freaks out and then you freak out, it's a freak show.
Yeah.
Stay calm, stay cool, say, hey, sympathize with them and say, hey, listen, let's get somebody out there and handle it and take care of it. That's what we do. So
exactly. I suggest to anybody, we know it sucks. Your homeowner knows it sucks. Take a breath. Let's get it sealed. And then guess what? Once it's sealed and good, we're golden. If you want to go drink a beer, let's go drink a beer. It's another reason for you to actually get referrals, because you handled it so well and you didn't freak out. It's not a big deal. We're going to get it taken care of. So that's the mentality you should have. And I know it's tough. If you want to call one of your other Powur reps to complain and vent, I'll give you Bill Conley's number. He'll let you vent, but don't vent with your client. Like, we know it sucks. We're going to get it fixed.
Absolutely.
Also remember that they cannot fix a leak in the rain. So we do need to wait for the rain to stop. And so that's something that, for whatever reason, homeowners, space out on, but just remind them, like, they can't go out immediately, right? Because we need to wait for the rain to stop. So that's another
50-mile-an-hour winds. Like, do you really want somebody on your roof?
Sure. Yeah, no, great point. And then Tony Denner, just shout out, homie. He's another bang bang. He just asked a question in the chat. He said, is there an emergency line for leaks? And yes, absolutely. 866-GO-POWER. If there is an emergency with leaks, they could call that number and get a hold of somebody. So, and then obviously, yes, Powur Chat, that's another way to go. So thank you for sharing that. We are going to move on to the new construction queen, Tracy Canoni. You have your hand raised. What's up, girl? You crushed it this past week. Tell us about it.
Yeah, no, it was great. I had 3 for 3. I was able to provide solar proposals and close 3 deals, one right after another this week. 2 were new constructions that I've been working with the client hand in hand with. One was for an ADU, and he wanted to max that out so he can also provide some extra solar to his home, because his current home has so many trees in front of it. So we were trying to get him the max for that ADU, which was great. And then the other one, it was it was a little issue because his solar bill is so not solar bill, his electric bill is only about 23 cents per kilowatt in Sunnyvale. So but he really wanted the backup. So he was really concerned about, you know, just getting off the grid the best he can and wanting a little bit of storage for peace of mind for when the power does go out. But my third one was the biggest win of all. I had a client that reached out to me through a realtor referral. He already kind of talked to another solar consultant. And he wanted me to see if I can provide a quote for him and see, you know, if we can match or see if we, you know, come with a better deal. I was able to come back. I was super excited. We came back with better equipment and a lower rate for him. And everything worked out. He's like, this makes sense. I really like you. Let's go. I'm just going to, you know, take a moment to, you know, digest everything and I'll contact you tomorrow. I get a nice long email from him. He decided that he was going to go with the other company. Very nice kind of breakup letter from him. But I just get a simple little email back to him. Can you please explain to me why when we have better equipment and better pricing? And then he wrote me a long email back. He's like, actually, I don't have a good reason. I felt really pressured by this company. They kind of forced me into signing. They went ahead and submitted my plans without my approval to the city. And I just felt the pressure from them to move forward. I'm like, well, this is for a lease deal. I'm like, well, you're going to be locked in with them for another 25 years. Do you really want to feel this kind of pressure from another company when you're feeling this pressure right now? So he digested that and he's like, actually, I really do want to go forward with you. So after a long conversation, we were able to get him signed a contract and he was very happy to move forward with me. And then he wrote a nice breakup letter to the other company. So
Yeah.
that was a good win for me.
Great job, Tracy. You are absolutely crushing it. I think you're coming up here pretty soon on your 1-year anniversary here with Powur. And yeah, I mean, you know what? I would say the key to your success watching you on here is you show up to the meetings. You show up every single week. You attend the events. You are fully plugged in and you have made solar become a part of your vernacular, right? Like
Yep.
literally it's part of your lexicon. When you're talking to people, you have made it a part of you. And when people think solar in the Bay Area, they think of Tracy. I'm so proud of you, girl.
Thank
And
you. Thank you. And I did have one more win. After the third contract signed, I woke up the next morning and I got a wonderful email from Powur that I became part of the Powur Club of the Solar Champions. So I was excited for that. It was a great wake up for Friday morning.
Love it, love it, love it. Super inspiring for all of us here on the call, man. So yeah, I'm just so proud of you. All right. I had a couple wins, but I'm going to hold them off because we have a huge training. So I'll get to those next week. With that said, let's move this on to Tom. Tom, do you have a little Powur perspective for us this week? Maybe short and concise.
I do. This is a quote from Mark Zuckerberg. He said, "People influence people. Nothing influences people more than the recommendation from a friend. A trusted referral influences people more than the best broadcast message." So catch this. This is the last part of his quote. He said, "A trusted referral is the holy grail of advertising." So we are in the middle of Career Pro Month, right? We just did an event for real estate and mortgage last night. We mentioned Cynthia was on stage talking to real estate agents. We have one of these events every Monday this month for different industries. We have this amazing ambassador program. You know, we've been training on that on Building with Bobby on Fridays. Are you focusing on referrals? It is the holy grail of your solar business. Back to you, Jarrett.
That, man, you know what, you guys? Pick up what he is laying down right there. There is no better sale than a referred, coming from a referral or a referral partner. These are leaders in their industry. These are their neighbors, their friends, their family members. And like you said, they trust them, more so than a billboard or advertisement or some BS that they see on Facebook, right? You're going in there already with, trust in you and the process, and it makes it so much more pleasurable. So take advantage of that. You just heard Tracy, her other sale was a referral from a realtor. You can see more and more realtors coming online, right? So, and Powur has the best referral program out there, the ambassador program, where we're rewarding these homeowners for their referrals with at $1,000. So great job. Love it. Thank you for sharing that nugget. We are going to move. Jordan, I see your hand raised. Did you want to jump in really quick?
Yeah, I just want to echo on the referrals because I just got another one yesterday. Well, actually, it was Sunday. Secured it yesterday for an appointment Thursday, but it's from a referral of a guy that I did an expansion for during the NEM2 craze. And I signed his contract literally hours before jumping on stage to talk about it last year. And basically this guy had gone to another solar company. They strung him along for months and months and months. He came back. And then and his system was not that large, cash deal, RACs, just like small, tiny expansion, got him in there. It took months to get through permitting, like everything else. But he referred his aunt, who got a Sunrun quote sitting in LADWP. And even they're going, oh, yeah, well, only 11 or 12 panels is going to give you 80%. I said, yeah, that sounds characteristic, talking to her on Thursday. But she's like, yeah, I've already told her I'm not moving forward right now until I talk to you. That is the power of the referrals.
Great. I appreciate that. And one last thing on that, we are seeing so much in the industry right now because of NEM3. A lot of players have moved out of state, and the people that are around here literally don't know what they're talking about. They're undersizing systems, undersizing batteries, putting people in wrong deals. So go out there and save a homeowner, you guys, and hook them up and take care of them with what we have to offer. All right. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your wins. Thank you, Tom, for that Powur perspective. That was great. We're going to move on to the training today. This guy, Jason, now, how do I say it? Is it Dulle? Say your last name for me, man. I don't want to butcher it any more than I just did.
I like the first one, kind of the French version, right? Dulle. No, I pronounce it Dulle.
Dulle.
I think I can rock that pretty well, so that's pretty exciting.
Jason Dulle, everybody. What's up, man? From SolarEdge here, and he's got some exciting stuff to share with us. Do a little training over here. I know a lot of you guys are big SolarEdge fans. SolarEdge has been a huge partner with Powur since the beginning. Literally, when I first joined Powur in 2019, that's all we sold was SolarEdge, and they've been a very strong partner. He's going to talk about that, some new products. Jason, do you want to go ahead and share your screen? Do you have some slides?
Yeah,
I can give you that.
Pull this up here real quickly.
Yeah, see if you can. If not, I'll give you the ability to do that.
Let's see.
Perfect.
Here. All right, let me shift some things around here real quickly.
Yep. We're all good, and I'll go ahead and
pull this the right way here. There we go. All right. Everybody see the screen okay here?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right. So first of all, congratulations. Those sound like some very exciting wins. And hopefully we'll talk about some things here today that'll help you all find some more wins out there. We have some exciting news to share that you may have heard of. If not, then we'll certainly cover it. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about SolarEdge homes. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is really just sort of an overview of the inverter technology in case, obviously, you're not familiar with SolarEdge and the inverters. But we're really going to talk about a significant pricing reduction as well and how you can win with that. But more importantly, I think I want to spend some time talking about the value of a single product ecosystem. We're seeing some major shifts in solar across the country. And I think it's important to start considering how do we not only sell today, but really take care of and position a product, whether it's our product or someone else's, obviously, for the future for the homeowner. Because these things that are happening in solar, and it's not just solar too, right? It's all these utility changes. It's the amount of EVs that are being sold today. All that means is that down the road, tomorrow, if you will, a homeowner's energy needs are going to continue to change and grow and evolve. And I think what we're seeing is this evolution, and the key to it is really smart energy management. So I'll spend a little time talking about it as well. and then get into a little bit of the SolarEdge Powur partnership that we're really excited to share. So, when you look at our ecosystem of products, we started off with just the inverter, right? That's the box here on the left. It's what you'll see on the wall, kind of at ground level, typically maybe in the garage, and then maybe a few years or so ago, we expanded that into batteries and an EV charger. And what that produces now is an integrated energy system. What that means ultimately, though, is that, because we can see how much the house is consuming, we can also see how much the PV is producing. We know how full the battery is. We know if the car is plugged in. All these things are integrated. So this is sort of step one in our smart energy management. We'll talk more about where we're at, where we're going to shortly here. But what's really cool about that is that it means that any PV that's being produced at the roof can be sent to the area where it's needed most. It can be sent to the house, converted to AC. If the battery, like if you're in NEM3, for instance, in California, and you need to charge that battery so you have access to that power later in the day, we can charge the battery. If you're also in NEM3, the house is consuming energy, the battery is full, but the car is plugged in, we can send that power directly to the car, which means now instead of sending power back to the grid, where effectively, the utility might pay the homeowner 2, 3, 4 cents a kilowatt hour, we're taking that energy, we're putting it where it's needed most. And so that's really the value, I think, of one segment of the ecosystem here. So any questions or topics you all like me to cover here before I jump in a little bit further here as well?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free, drop it in the chat. I'll monitor it as we go along. I don't see anything as of right now, so you are free to move forward. But if
Awesome.
something does come up, I'll let you know, Jason.
Appreciate it. All right, so moving on here. So when you look at solar, right, there's typically a few different or a couple different types of inverter technologies out there. We have string inverters, which sort of set the stage for, really the solar industry. They were more cost effective, higher efficiency, which meant more production. However, certainly there were some limitations, and those limitations were performance was limited to the worst performing module. Or potential shadings, right? Reducing production. And so if you heard the Christmas tree analogy, that's sort of what we're talking about here. If one light goes out, the whole string goes out. And that's the same, another limitation of a string inverter. Eventually the microinverters came along. And the advantage to a microinverter obviously was that it optimizes each panel, which means that you're going to get panel level monitoring and panel level production. But they are a little limited in how much each module can produce. And they do come at a higher cost. So SolarEdge came along and said, let's take a little bit of a different look at that. And we produce what we call a DC optimized solution. It's really the best of both worlds. So what does that mean? It means that ultimately, at the inverter level, we can convert more energy because there's a central point, right? If you look at a microinverter, the module is limited to the production by that microinverter underneath that panel. We're going to take all that energy and we're going to produce it at the system level. Because string inverters are DC optimized inverters are generally higher efficiency, it also just means you're going to get more energy out of the system. And the reason for this is because what we have underneath each panel is what we call an optimizer. So each panel, because there's a little box just like underneath each module, it allows for panel level monitoring and panel level production. So you really get the best of both worlds. You get the additional production that you might get out of a string inverter. And then you get the advantage of a microinverter with independent panel production and monitoring without the limitations of potential lost energy due to the size of the microinverter on that panel. So let's look at that a little more holistically here. So obviously we know like if a leaf hits a string inverter system, it's going to produce at the lowest level of that string. So whatever module, like if this is a 400 watt module and a leaf hits it and it's only producing 200 watts, the whole string is going to reduce to that amount. With a microinverter, you're capped at the amount of wattage that microinverter can produce. Typically we're seeing a lot of homes in some areas that are going with like a 405 watt module, but that microinverter might only be able to produce 290 watts. And so that 405 watt module is actually realistically a 290 watt module in that case. We're doing the best of both worlds, right? We will produce the maximum amount of power at that module level. And we're not going to have the same limitation of a string inverter where if one module is shaded or if one module goes down, then the whole string is impacted, and therefore all the production of the system is impacted there. All right, any questions on that topic there before we move on here?
Looks like
here.
Yeah, in the chat, somebody asked about batteries, how much space is needed in the batteries. So not necessarily pertaining to this just yet. Tom did answer that.
Thank you, Tom.
Someone asked about SolarEdge load controllers available. I don't know if you can maybe talk about that towards the end.
That is
but
a
I
great
love,
segue.
yeah, but I do love this, this description right here, the way that you're laying it out, as where, because when I think a lot of people, when they think of SolarEdge, they think of them as just a string inverter. And yes, the Christmas light effect, one goes down, but the way that you're explaining it is because of optimizers. It's kind of like a string inverter with microinverter technology built into it, but you get to take advantage of that string inverter power. Did I say that right?
Exactly. Yeah, well said. Absolutely. Yeah. So I like to always say it's the best of both worlds, right? You get all the advantages that you might see in the string inverter and all the advantages you might see in the microinverter system. And so what does that mean? It ultimately means that homeowners are happier, right? Because they get the best of both worlds. And, as we segue into the next topic here, they're also going to be able to either buy that technology at a better price too. So more premium offering for better price, which is pretty rare in the marketplace.
All right.
Cool. All right. So first thing I want to say is we have really two inverters, if you will. They're all the same sizes that are available, but the difference here is really going to be one is more of a standard, if you will. The other one's more of a premium. And when I say premium, what inverter I'm referring to is what we call the Energy Hub. So the Energy Hub is our battery ready and EV charging ready inverter. And it's really the inverter I would recommend selling on every project. A lot of you out there are already doing that. And the reason for that is because whether the homeowner goes batteries today or EV charging today or tomorrow, they're set up. And we worked on some pricing to make sure that this makes sense, that this is going to be a very competitive offering compared to what you're seeing on the competitive side for us there. So you can now sell this premium product, and I'll talk about pricing here in a couple slides here, but you can now sell this premium product at a price better than you would compared to our competitor, period. And so now you can offer the homeowner more value. You can future-proof them. So whether they want batteries now or later, and ultimately it's the best, most reliable product that we've ever made too. All right. So one of the topics that we see out there sometimes that can be a little confusing is how do I size a SolarEdge inverter? Sorry, are you seeing the next slide here? Is it stuck on my end?
Nope.
Oh, I think I'm getting
You
a
just
little
went forward to cost. I think you jumped ahead.
I think my computer might be freezing here. Hold on a second. Let me go off video here, see if that helps. All right. There we go.
Yeah,
that's where we should be.
Perfect.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's freezing up here on me here. All right, this is where we should be. All right, so if you had some questions on how to properly size a SolarEdge inverter, right? You see these numbers, if we go back a slide, right? You see a 7.6 kW. What does that mean, right? Well, that's the amount of AC power that the inverter can produce. On the left-hand side, on the solar side, you see 11, that's basically in wattage. So, we would call that 11.4 kW inverter or 11,400 watts. That's how much power it can produce in AC power. So now if we think about it, right, we don't sell AC system sizes, we sell DC system sizes. And so to keep it really simple, based on what Powur put as a maximum DC ratio, as they call it, meaning what is the ratio of how much solar on the roof to the amount of AC power the inverter can produce. I put together a chart here to help you all kind of guide yourselves here as you're making these decisions. So if you are putting a 3.8 kilowatt inverter on a system, then the max DC system for that is 5.3 kW. So that is taking Powur's maximum DC to AC ratio of 140%. So basically 3.8 times 1.4 gives you 5.3. So that's how that math is happening right there. Now, if you're looking for the max DC system size on a 6 kW, we're looking at 8.4 kW. So basically anywhere between a 6 and or anywhere below an 8.4 kW, you can theoretically put a 6 kilowatt inverter. Now, if we roll up to a larger inverter, which means we can produce now 7.6 kilowatts, that's your 10.6 kilowatt DC max, and on there. So this is a great chart. I'd recommend, if you're at your computer screenshotting this for some guidance. But again, what we're doing here is we're taking the AC power, the inverter size, and we're multiplying it by 1.4, 140%. On the right here is really just some background on how much power we can produce in backup mode. One of the cool advantages of these inverters is they're actually larger inverters, but we derate on the AC side to allow for a smaller breaker. That way we don't trigger main panel upgrades. Once that system goes into backup mode with batteries, though, we can access all that power. So you may have a 7.6 kilowatt inverter on a 200 amp main panel, but when that system goes into backup, it actually can increase backup power from 7.6 to 11.4, over 30% of an increase in power. And so something to note on, just to keep in mind, is that, the inverter power grows off when it's off grid. All right, so let's talk about a little more fun pricing. So we announced, I think it was it January 1st? I think it was announced January 20th, actually, a significant reduction in pricing. And so what I did here is I went into Vision. So I do sell on the Powur platform as well. I think it's fantastic. And I've sold systems and it's really exciting. And so this is an 8.1 kW DC system. So as we talked earlier, we have two different inverter styles, if you will, a premium and a standard. So the Energy Hub, the hub right here, is the premium one. For that 8 kW system at $3 a watt, the cost for the hub is $24,692. This is in California. So there might be variations based on some other items there. But when you compare that to the micro, you're saving the homeowner over $300 to almost $700, right? Because if you look at it, you have three different choices for microinverters, right? One produces less power, one produces a medium amount of power, one produces the most power. What does that mean? That means that the homeowner has to pay extra money to get extra production. We're saying don't do that. We're saying we'll give you all the production that system can produce for a better price, which means you as a homeowner lower your cost and improve your ROI, your return on your investment. Bill, I see your message in the chat there. Actually, these inverters can handle 160 to 180%. That is correct. So Powur has chosen to cap that at 140%. The carve out here is really that we only suggest going that high when it is a battery system. And the reason for that is our batteries are DC batteries. And so if you have excess module power that's being produced in DC, we can take that excess DC and we can put it directly into the battery. And so we don't clip energy with those strategies right there. So theoretically, if there's a reason why, let's say you wanted to put a 12 kilowatt, 11 kilowatt solar system on a 7.6 kilowatt inverter to avoid a main panel upgrade, I'd reach out to Powur and see if they would approve something like that. It's at Powur's discretion for sure, but we can definitely do it on our side. All right, so just a reminder. Yep. So just a reminder, this is for the Energy Hub. This is your premium selection. This is the inverter that is battery ready, EV charging ready, and our most reliable inverter that we've built yet. So we do have another inverter option on your platform as well. This is what I will call the standard version. So it looks exactly the same. And the opportunity here is that the pricing reduction is even greater. Now, the homeowner doesn't get the advantages, obviously, of the future proofing with battery ready, EV charging ready. However, they do get a more cost-effective system. So this homeowner is like, I'm only going to be in this house for a year or two. It's a short-term thing. I just want the most cost-effective solution. Then this is what you're going to look for. It's the selection inside of Vision or Solo that does not say Energy Hub next to it. So when you compare the savings with the new inverter pricing, that could be as high as almost $1,200 compared to our competitor on the platform right now. When you factor interest rates and other things like that, that's a substantial savings to the homeowner right there. So we were really excited to work with Powur to lower these prices. And the goal was to make you all way more competitive out there to help close more deals, right? We're seeing, obviously, an industry that's going through some challenging times, and we want to support you all in being more successful out there with this pricing. All right, so now that we covered pricing, I want to go back and talk about something that we kind of talked about earlier, and that's really the value of an ecosystem. If you look back in time, solar was really focused on just selling PV, right? It was just, we're going to put modules in your roof, we're going to reduce your bill, we're going to cut it in half, whatever that conversation is, right? But we're seeing a lot of changes in solar, and it's pointing to one singular thing. It's the value of a single product ecosystem. And if you think about it, that's really where we're at in a lot of products in our lives today, right? you're probably either an Apple person or an Android person. And think about why you pick one versus the other. You can't transfer photos from an Android tablet to your iPhone, right? They don't work together that well. They might work, but it can be kind of clunky. And the same thing happens when you look at solar. When you pair a third-party battery with a, like an AC coupled third-party battery with either an Enphase or a SolarEdge inverter, the reality is that the homeowner can have some challenges in that experience, right? You need to size the PV system directly to the amount of battery power, or what can happen is that PV can be turned off in backup mode. So effectively, if you have a single AC coupled battery on, let's say, a 7-8 kW system, if that system goes into backup mode, that solar will be turned off in backup mode until the PV production drops below 5 kilowatts. So what does that mean? You should probably add 2 batteries, which now increases the cost of the homeowner a lot. And so there's a lot of things to think about when you have two products that are not designed to talk together. And the other downside of that too is that if there's ever any service needs, sometimes that can become a challenge, right? Because the inverter manufacturer cannot see what is happening inside the battery. They know that we might know there's something there, but we can't see what's happening, and vice versa, right? The battery manufacturer cannot see what's happening inside the PV system. They're not really designed to work together. And so I think it's important to consider that, because not only does it give your homeowner a better experience today, but what it really leads to is a better experience tomorrow. I personally, the vision that we see at SolarEdge is that, software is going to be the key to the next step in solar. And it's really going to be around energy management and energy optimization. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. We already talked about the value of an EV charger and how we can effectively send excess solar to the car to avoid, unfavorable net metering policies. But we also have a new product that we've launched, and that is the load controller. This is a very, very cost-effective small box. I'm talking about maybe 4 inches by 2 inches or smaller. And what it does is it goes between any heavy load. So for instance, an air conditioner or a pool pump. The original plan for this product was to allow a homeowner to choose, if I have a heavy load like an air conditioner, I can now back up all my loads. I can put this between the air conditioner and the main service panel. And now I have remote control. I could turn that on and off. But we thought a little bit more about it. And really, we thought about the idea of energy management and optimization. And this tiny little box is a pretty cool thing, because what it can do now, if you look at excess PV mode, automatically prioritizes an individual appliance to utilize excess PV energy over other appliances. So let's take an M3 example here. And if you have excess PV that's being produced, we could potentially pre-cool the house. We could turn that air conditioner on if the homeowner's not home automatically, to take that extra solar that doesn't make sense to sell back to the grid, pre-cool the house so the homeowner uses less AC power in those peak windows of 4 to 9, right? On top of that, you have backup essentials modes. During an outage, you can keep essential loads on and non-essential loads off. And so this is really a big leap into energy management. It allows us to make some smart decisions with the homeowner's solar system without them even having to worry about it. It all happens automatically. And we're doing this through an artificial intelligence software platform that we've built. So this is another big step right here. We announced what we call our battery management algorithm in M3. What that did was it would basically automatically, based on the time of day, month, etc., decide if I have battery power now, do I send it to the home, or do I send it to the grid for maximum financial value to the homeowner? This is a further evolution in this opportunity here. And so it's really a cool thing to think about, right? And I think this is why it's really an important concept to start thinking about for the future, because as homeowners' energy needs change and grow and evolve, as utilities change the net metering policy. I just saw something last week where in California, if you went NEM2 5 years ago, your current time of use profile is being eliminated. And so in this example I saw online, a homeowner had a true-up bill of about $110 a month. The utility is removing that that time of use, and now that is a $1,200 bill for that homeowner. So we can't always predict what's going to happen now and down the road, right? And I think when you start thinking about selling a single ecosystem, whether it's us or our competitor, what you're really doing is you're setting your homeowner up for the best experience down the road.
Love that.
So,
And let me ask you a quick question on this load controller. Is this something that we are now offering through Powur? Is this standard on all systems that are coupled with batteries? Do you know?
So it's something we're working on Powur. We need to, because it's a variable thing, right? How many loads are in the house? How many would need this, stuff like that. So I would consider this a product to that we'll talk about more in Q2 for now.
Okay.
But it's becoming, for such a small, cost-effective, diminutive product, is becoming one of the coolest products I think that we're actually making. And I see this comment about, is this like Span? And I would say that this does the same thing as Span. So for much
Wow.
more cost-effective price point, we're not talking high thousands of dollars. We're talking low hundreds of dollars. You can
Wow.
now offer the same circuit level control that you would get through a Span. Yeah, and we're also going to have PCS launching probably in the next few weeks or so, which would potentially eliminate main panel upgrades that are, let's say backfeed driven. So you're always going to have things like Zinsco and other panels that need to be upgraded, but the combination of load control and PCS will put us in a really cool spot here when it comes to the future of solar here.
I love that. I absolutely love the technology. And, to be frank, I love the competition because, with you and everybody and all the other, offerings out there, everyone's at a race to have a bigger, better, more cost-effective product and for their homeowners. And it looks like you guys are just, leading the charge. We're huge fans, Jordan Shaw. And, and I know he is big with SolarEdge, and to be able to offer that type of service combined with SolarEdge already at such a lower cost, that's huge, Jason. So I appreciate you sharing that. There, if we have a couple quick seconds, there are some questions in the chat. Real quick, Aaron on Facebook Live asked, he sells in Illinois, and he sells a lot of 12 to 25 kW systems. So he'd have to use two 10 kW SolarEdge inverters.
What was the DC
His
system
question
size?
is between a 12 and 25 kilowatt size system. He's asking, so I would use like two 10 kW SolarEdge inverters. That's his question. Or 10,000s, I guess.
Yeah, probably. I mean, for a 25 kilowatt DC system, you probably would be doing two 10 kilowatt inverters. If it was less than that, then you might be doing, let's say, for instance, it's a 20 kilowatt system. You could probably do two 7.6 kilowatt inverters.
Gotcha.
So it's just a little math involved, right? Of taking that AC power, multiplying it by 140%, and then you'll have some idea there. And Powur does this actually automatically in Vision anyway. It'll make this selection. But if you wanted some more customability, if you will, in selecting the right inverter for your homeowner, that's the background on the math there.
Perfect. All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and move on. This is exciting stuff, Jason.
Great. Well, thanks. I appreciate you sharing that. So the final piece of this here, obviously, is, it's a singular app experience. That's where we're used to, right? We don't want an app for my battery, my EV charging, my solar, all these different apps that could, come with the solar ecosystem, right? It's great. It's a great experience for the homeowner to have a single app that allows them to not only monitor their system, see how their batteries are behaving, see if the car is charging, set charging schedules. They can see historical production, historical consumption of the system. And then obviously with these load controllers, now we can start saying, hey, let's go turn that pool heater off. Let's turn it on. Let's set a profile that says if my system goes into backup because I have a load controller on my HVAC system, my pool pump, my well pump, I want that to default to off so that my batteries don't drain too fast. So that can be set as a default profile. And again, this is all happening in one singular app. And the other big advantage of the singular app experience is going to be when it comes to NEM3. When the homeowner is commissioned in California, they'll set their utility, they'll set their rate schedule, and we will pull all those rate tables in the background, and we'll start making the smart decisions for the homeowner that says, if it is September from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, we should export this energy versus self-consuming it for maximum value. That's all done through the My SolarEdge app and this smart artificial intelligence platform that we're building here.
Yeah, that's huge because I have a lot of homeowners that when I explain to them about, the rate arbitrage and sending energy back, they kind of get big wide-eyed, like, oh shit, I have to figure out how to do. I go, no.
Yeah.
We program all that for you. So yeah, it's a huge selling point.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, right? I mean, we're at a point now of leveraging all this software capability. And what I think is really cool about this is that, you know, if you think about what you see typically in Silicon Valley, right, they'll release a hardware set. And then what do they do over time? They optimize that hardware through software. And that is exactly what we're doing here. We're saying, okay, we have all these pieces of hardware out there for homeowners. Now let's focus on optimizing their system via software.
Right.
All right. So moving on here, you know, we really want to celebrate the partnership that we have with Powur. Obviously, we just talked about a massive pricing reduction to help support you and to support Powur. But I think what's really also exciting is really the level of protection that we offer your homeowners and yourself. So the first of which is what we call our enhanced services program. So as a manufacturer, we are actually monitoring every single site that is sold through Powur. If an inverter happens to go down, we have a team on the other side of the world that are capture that failure the moment that it happens, basically our nighttime, their daytime. They'll create the RMA. We will actually then, in the markets that we have resources, roll trucks and replace that inverter for the homeowner. When you look at the time from downtime to replacement in California, that is under 2 weeks. Same in Florida. It's just a little slightly above that in Texas, but effectively we're now taking the downtime and reducing it to a maximum of 2 weeks. Now, as we all know, things can always go wrong, right? And so we put another effort behind that, an extra layer of protection, and that is what we're calling the downtime credit. Now, this is at Powur's discretion, but what does that mean? It means that ultimately, if the system is down longer than we would want it to be, if the homeowner is upset because they're having to pay their solar loan or their lease, their PPA, and also their utility bill now, we're providing cash to Powur to compensate those homeowners for lost production. So it's really the ultimate level of protection that you can offer a homeowner today. And so when you think about a lot of what we talked about, this is the final component, I think, in putting you all in a truly advantageous spot at the kitchen table to win more deals, because no matter what product is sold by your competitor, they're not going to be offering this. They're not going to be able to tell the homeowner that they have the ultimate assurances, because not only is the inverter manufacturer monitoring the site, but there's also an extra layer of protection where the system is down for too long. SolarEdge will help pay for your power bill. You know, and obviously
that's a huge point, you guys. That's a huge selling point. You know, if you're selling SolarEdge and you're offering this to your clients, bring this up. I don't know how many other companies you guys do this with. Is this exclusive for Powur or?
Yes.
Wow. You guys hear that? Exclusive. The Powur partnership with SolarEdge, very strong. They don't do this for any other installer out there. And I mean, you know, hey, look at you once again, shit happens. Inverters have been known to go out in the past. It does happen. SolarEdge has a very, very low failure rate at this point. But just as that added insurance, that peace of mind, the security for your homeowner, the Powur exclusive enhanced services where they will actually cover their bill if it's for an extended period of time. That's massive, you guys. They're not going to get that anywhere else.
Yeah, we were really excited to announce this. And I think, you know, the conversation earlier about how valuable referrals are, and, you know, what Owen shared about taking effectively what could be a negative experience, a roof leak, right, and turning that into a referral is exactly the same perspective we're looking at here, right? Like, things happen. It's how you resolve those things that really matters. If it's a terrible resolution for the homeowner, they're not going to be open to referring you, right? But if it's the opposite, that's a referral machine right there, in my opinion. So hopefully you'll see the same, you know. And I think as we talk about, obviously, the importance of this partnership, you know, another thing that we've done this year that is exclusive just to Powur is a trip to Hawaii. So the top 10 people from Powur World through the end of this past year will be going on a trip with us. Top 10 people who sold batteries, SolarEdge batteries, will be on a trip to Hawaii with us. And so these are the kind of things that we want to do because we really see the vision of what Powur is building, and we want to be the strongest partner possible to help you all succeed out there.
Yeah, yep. And I know that we have quite a few of those guys going out to Hawaii on this call that are very excited.
I can't wait. We're gonna have a lot of fun out there, and so hopefully we'll be able to do that again for you all next year. And our goal was originally to take you all out to Israel, where we're actually headquartered, but the events over there, those have driven a different location. But hopefully, maybe next year we'll have a different spot we can go to. So, just a recap here: how can we help you win more leads, more energy production via DC optimization, clipping avoidance? You're not going to put a smaller inverter on the panel like that. We also have a substantial pricing advantage. I cannot understate the ecosystem advantage enough. I mean, I think that when you start thinking about the next steps in solar, this is really where an ecosystem advantage will start to really, really shine. So respectfully, I understand you won't always sell SolarEdge, but I would highly recommend that you sell a single product, whether it's Enphase or us, for example. So, and the reason for that is just your homeowner is going to really appreciate, having that when the next step comes down the road for them. And then again, the long-term protection that we just talked about there. So hopefully that all was helpful there. I think we have some time left, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, go back on camera as well. And would love to answer any questions, comments, thoughts.
Yeah, excellent. Great job, Jason, and explaining that to everybody. I'm sure we have some questions. Go ahead and raise your hand if you want to come off mute, or I'll call on you. I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
So when doing, when sizing it and needing 2 inverters, obviously you need an energy hub if there's a battery included on it. And I mean, for the difference in price, I think I would add that on every project to future proof. Yep. I don't think it's very negligible, but does that second inverter need to be an energy hub as well, or just the first one, the primary?
It does not, but there would be obviously limitations down the road where if they wanted to add like 4 or 5 batteries to a system with the 2 inverter system, only one would be battery compatible. So, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? Like if you had that conversation with the homeowner, then they're like, I think the maximum batteries I'd ever buy are 2, 3 batteries, for example. Then absolutely, yeah, you could do 1 hub, 1 alternative. I think the only limitation might be vision there. I'm not so sure if you can select one and then the other. But you certainly could leave some notes there and direct them to say 1 hub, 1 non-hub there.
Sure. How many batteries per inverter?
Maximum per inverter is 3 batteries.
Okay.
And then we can put up to 3 inverters on a single, let's say 200 amp service. So 9 batteries total.
Okay. And currently you guys offer 10 kW batteries, correct? Or 10 kW 10 kilowatt hour batteries.
Correct. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And anything coming in the down the pipeline as far as battery tech concern?
At this point, our focus really is on software, to be honest, because we want to maximize all of that. Like always, we're always innovating, and we will certainly have another generation of batteries coming. I can't say when or what it'll even look like at this point. But the software has been the general focus right now. And then really PCS and load controllers, right? That's going to change a lot, because now we can put a whole lot larger solar system on a smaller main panel and not, obviously driving panel upgrades and then that impact on the load controllers there as well. It's going to really improve the backup situation there.
Yeah, I look forward to that load controller. That seems like that's going to be a hot ticket item to combine.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Jose has his hand raised. Go ahead. What's up, Jose? How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, Jason, I want to say great job at Power World. I think you really sold SolarEdge to everybody that was intimidated by it, including myself. And I have it on my house due to Owen. But what I do want to say is the question is about warranties for the batteries. Okay. I know that we're protected through Sonova, but let's say we have a cash deal. How are we looking for those warranties? I know they were at 10 years, and then they kind of are hovering around the 15-year. What are we looking like?
Yeah, so give me a sec here. Let me just pull up a slide here on the battery here, and I'll talk about answer your question directly here, but this will give you a little more background on the batteries. So first of which, to answer your question more directly, our battery is a 10-year warranty. And there is one major advantage for a cash deal is that it's unlimited cycles. So most batteries you'll see a 70% capacity, which what that means is basically you take the capacity times it by 70%, and then the homeowner is guaranteed by warranty at that 10-year whatever period, the battery will have this much capacity left. Well, for us, it's 7 kilowatt hours, right? Unlimited cycles is a key call out here, though. There's potential where we will be charging and discharging batteries multiple times a day. Texas has already done negative rates, right? And so it might make sense to start charging your battery off the grid when you can buy power from the grid, or when they'll pay you, I should say, 2 cents a kilowatt hour, right? So having unlimited cycles, really what it does is it tells the homeowner that at year 10, no matter how much, how you use your battery, how many cycle times, however times you cycle it up or down, you'll have a minimum of 7 kilowatt hours. So I think that's also a great way to overcome the objection that, my battery is going to be dead at year 10. You will have a minimum of 7 kilowatt hours by warranty.
Do we know what the average lifespan is of a battery? I get that asked that all the time.
I'm sure there's some information available. I've never seen it myself.
Sure.
And the reality is it's somewhat variable. I will say I've had an EV for the same car for going on 6 years now, and I think I've lost 3% of the total capacity over 6 years and 90-something thousand miles. So overall, I don't have a great answer. I always lean on the warranty, though. The one thing we can say is that at year 10, the homeowner is going to have a minimum of 7 kilowatt hours in that battery.
Yeah, that's great. And
Jason, are these are those
go ahead, Owen.
Sorry. One of the selling points with the SolarEdge I come up with is that it's unlimited cycles for 10 years. So with an M3 environment, maybe you can point out, I know we're all friendly with our competitors, with 15-year warranties, how many cycles are they actually covering in comparison to a SolarEdge battery?
So to be fair, I don't remember. What I have in mind, though, is I think it might be 1 cycle a day. Over 15 years, but don't quote me on that. I would suggest obviously doing a little deeper dive there. I do remember one though for Franklin. They're capping energy at 43 megawatt hours. So in an M3 cash deal, loan deal, that 12-year warranty is closer to 9 years if that battery cycled every day, based on the math on the energy capacity there. So I do remember that one now.
Oh. Bill, you have your hand raised. You have a question for Jason?
Yeah, just real quick. I had to ask in the chat. I got a project going in right now, 11.34 kilowatts, and we're going to do 4 batteries. There's currently solar on the project already, but I'm going to need to do 2 inverters, right, with 4 batteries.
Correct.
No way around it. They've talked to, so I have to get with the designer because they were trying to do a 7600, but it's got like 2 6000s would probably work fine. Energy hubs.
What size of the system again? DC?
11.34 DC.
Yeah, I would probably go 2 6000s.
You can't do 2 3.8s, but so I mean, and then you don't have there's not a 5 kW energy hub, right?
So the answer is no. It's kind of a yes. We have a 5.7 that will be coming out, but it's not available in distribution yet. And so I would stick with the 6. There might be a change there from an ordering perspective, but let's stick with the 6 for now because that's what's actually available.
And on a 200 amp service, I could probably just get away with a D rate then, right?
I'll let Powur decide that, but my guess is yeah.
Okay.
And we might have a solution with PCS as well that we can, depending on when it's installed too as well. So all this stuff, I don't want to get too far down the road.
All right, I can talk to you offline.
Yep. Correct. Yeah.
Thanks,
I think the advantage too, as I shared earlier, is that when you have 2 inverters with 4 batteries, you're really increasing the backup capacity, how much power the system could do with 2 inverters as well there.
Yeah.
Because that doubles now.
Got it, man. Well,
Just
Jason,
a little hit to the margin, that's all.
Jason, I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Well, thank you.
Sharing these announcements, the all-in-one ecosystem, future proofing. I think, what SolarEdge is doing is really cool. The exclusive partnership with Powur, load controller here coming soon, maybe in Q2. You guys go out there and sell some SolarEdge, okay? Get out there, make it happen, start, putting it into your pitch books. And then can we give Jason some love in the chat for coming on here? Great training today, brother. Got a lot of value.
Hey, thanks, Joel. Appreciate your time, your partnership, and hopefully this was helpful. I did drop in the chat a link to our Facebook group here. I'll reshare it again towards the bottom here. You know, if you have any direct questions or anything else that we can support you with, please feel free to join the group and you know, ask whatever questions you have out there. We're happy to help.
Love it. Appreciate it, man. All
Thanks,
right, you
all.
guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this recording. We'll see you next week.